seem that he may finally have to face charges. But I'm not a legal expert, so I wouldn't want to guess whether former President Jacob Zuma has any further cards up his sleeve. It does seem, by all indications, that he may finally have to face court. We know that he's made, how the legal system works is that you are given a chance to make representations to say if you oppose certain charges against you, if you feel that there's a reasonable argument as to why you shouldn't face charges. We do know that President Jacob Zuma did submit those representations, and Sean Abrams found now, as he said in his statement, that those representations were not strong enough to convince the National Prosecuting Authority that they should not go ahead, and that they will now go ahead with that case. So, you know, by all, unless a legal expert contradicts me, I think by all indications, President Jacob Zuma will be in a court in KwaZulu-Natal soon.
Okay. Let's bring it back to the studio again. I mean, Ben, so for all intents and purposes, this trial will take place. How long is this going to take?
Well, that depends on what Jacob Zuma does. As I said, I think it can go to court pretty quickly, but Jacob Zuma has a few options. He can decide to plead guilty and hope that he can get a presidential pardon after all this, but nothing in his nature, nothing in his approach so far to these allegations suggests that he's going to do that. I mean, Advocate Sean Abrams in the press conference was saying that in his final representations to the NPA, he still disputes any wrongdoing. He said he had no intention to commit crimes, that there was political interference, and that media leaks were used to tarnish his name. So that suggests he's going to plead not guilty. As I said, the state's case should be fairly clear-cut. There's talk of up to 200 witnesses. I think it's unlikely that that will happen. I think they'll pare that down to the most important ones. We would probably have to see Zuma take the stand in his defense at some point. That'll be fascinating to watch. But, you know, I think that they can commence quite quickly. I think the state will want to get on with it quickly. And then it really depends what sort of moves that the defense take. But everything that we know about Zuma suggests that he's going to fight. Everything we know about him suggests that he's going to take it on appeal if he is found guilty on these charges. So it could be quite some time, if ever, before we see him in a jail cell.
Ben, tell me, the ANC has paid a price for these years and years now of allegations of corruption and graft and racketeering, all the charges against him. Does the ANC need this now? Will this help serve to improve the questions over the ANC's integrity, its fall into corruption, its apparent fall into corruption, by finally maybe trying a key member of the party, the former president, and showing that, look, if we have corruption in our ranks, it will be sought out and it will be eradicated?
I think that many within the ANC would like to believe that, but I don't see that happening. For a start, I think the party is going to keep a hands-off approach. It's going to say we're watching with interest what's going on in court, but they're not likely to pronounce too publicly on what evidence is brought forward. There's going to be another issue for the party. Jacob Zuma is by far the only person within the ANC who has links to businessmen who have either had shady dealings or been convicted of corruption. You know, what is likely to happen is how leaders and individuals, after coming back at the end of apartheid, after exile, conducted themselves with businessmen in the early years of the Mandela presidency and into the Thabo Mbeki era. And I think a lot of skeletons of the way some very, very important leaders within the ANC conducted themselves could well come out in court and prove embarrassing to the party. Further than that, I think there's going to be a lot of people within the current ANC, Jacob Zuma supporters, who are going to be very uneasy about seeing him in a dock, in a court of law again. And if this is not handled carefully by the party, Jacob Zuma, who is still very popular in the region of the country where the ANC gets most of its votes, it could backfire publicly for the party as well. So it's not necessarily a good thing.
And let's remember, I mean, this is not just about the ANC. It's not just about the party. What does this mean for South Africa? South Africans want to know that their institutions work. How important is this trial?
Very, very important from that regard. You know, we've seen some big trials in South Africa over the years. We've seen the Jacob Zuma rape trial, for which he was found not guilty. We've seen the Oscar Pistorius trial, where South Africa's judiciary was very much in the public eye. But this would be the big political trial so far. If the evidence is strong, if the defense is strong, if the court system is seen to be working properly, it will embolden those who believe that South Africa's judiciary still stands tall after all that Jacob Zuma has done to the prosecution services and to the judiciary over the last decade or so. Okay. So yes, it could be a moment of rebirth.
Absolutely. Okay.